So my talk is a bit more programmatic than the great science talks that I have heard this morning and the first part of the afternoon. So I will talk about the ESA Space Weather Service Network, and particularly, I guess it's interesting for the group in the meeting today how we plan to continue with the network in the next phase of the program. This slide, I think many of you have seen so many times that I will not say much about it. Basically, just for those who might not be so familiar, the Space Weather Service Network is the ESA approach for the space weather data processing beyond the level 1 processing, so beyond the immediate processing after getting the raw data down from the instruments. And also the network is there to put together data from multiple sources, combine the data and produce space weather products and services. And we have been working on this network since the beginning of the SSA program, so since 2009, and I think we have reached quite an extensive network by now, more than 50 groups, and actually excellent performance, and also I would say reliability with this. So I think the important aspect of the network is that we are constantly expanding it and adding new capabilities into the network. We do this through newer releases of the Space Weather Portal, so about 3 times per year, 3 to 4 times per year. We update the sort of the content of the service portal by integrating the results of the completed developments into the portal, and we make these pre-operational services available to the users this way. So this is a snapshot of one of those improvements or updates of the portal. Also, as I said, the service network is working extremely well. So thanks to all the participants and the good implementation of the elements of the network, the reliability and the availability is way beyond the minimum requirements of a pre-operational service. Actually, I think we are well over 95% availability in the average. And for example, when there was the event in May this year, some other portals, some other space weather portals in the world collapsed simply because of the high user access, but ours did not. So thanks to everybody who is in part of the network for the very good and rigorous implementation of the current. This is my snapshot of the portal related to the topic of the meeting today. So we have already a number of atmospheric activities there, and basically Anna mentioned already in the morning the TechTide service which has been implemented and has been integrated into the portal. I took this snapshot yesterday because the TechTide was actually forecasting or nowcasting some disturbances. So we have atmospheric services, but obviously we are looking forward to improve those, and FORS is of course one of these activities where we are looking forward for new capabilities. So then going a bit more into the programmatic aspects. So in this period of the program, there are still new development activities coming up. There are 2 ITTs that one ITT that has been just closed, so we continue the development of the Virtual Space Weather Modeling Center, and I have a bit more about that in a couple of slides. There is an ITT for space weather impact on GNSS performance. and that ITT is to be released soon. We still try actually to get it out before Christmas, but at this point I'm starting to believe that it will be in January. But there is an ITT related to ionospheric disturbances coming up. And then next year, first half of next year, we have several development activities in the program in still this period. So focusing on virtual space modeling center, so the next development phase, space and environment characterization, space weather capability development for ionospheric and geomagnetic conditions, solar and heliospheric weather toolkit development, and then also an activity for advanced validation for the Space Weather Service Network. And also, of course, we have a number of development activities in progress at the moment. And as I mentioned before, as soon as we finish those developments, the aim is to then integrate the results into the service network and also bring the groups who are operating those elements and capabilities into the. So then a bit more details of the development activities that will be in the program in the next period. So we are now discussing, and I think many of you know, we are preparing for the ESA Ministerial that will take place more or less exactly a year from now. And in that ministerial, our member states will give us the mandate and hopefully also the resources to continue the development activities. One of the things that we want to do is to rebuild the Space Weather Service portal. We have a lot of recommendations from the review that took place earlier this year on how the portal should be improved in order to make the user experience better. And then we will implement development activities for new applications and also new tools. And you see here the particular target domains for these developments will include spacecraft operators, GNSS applications, power grids, and also other application areas. And also we want to improve the data pipelining within the network. This is also related to the software developments that we will want to do in the next period. This is then a sort of a bit of a paradigm shift in certain ways. So I did not intentionally include a slide about the ESA space weather activities into this presentation, but many of you might have seen the slide that I have on that during the Space Weather Week in Coimbra. So as you might know, European Commission is also gradually getting into the space weather activities in Europe. They have allocated a rather small budget for now for operationalization of space weather services in Europe. But anyway, something is happening in that front as well. And we will release an ITT for the initial EU space weather service in February next year. It will be very focused. It will be quite limited because of the budget, and it probably will address only one user domain. But at this point, I can't yet tell which user domain because the final decision on that will be with the Commission. But in order to prepare for the future and with the sort of a perspective and expectation that the Commission will hopefully increase the space weather share of their space program budget in the next budget, so in the next MFF in 28, we will continue to develop in the meantime the Space Weather Service Network into a more enhanced R2O and of course O2R framework. So we will maintain the network, we will maintain the capabilities in the network, and we will continue developing and including further capabilities into the network, but with the main focus for the preparing those capabilities and services for a future transitioning into an operational framework that hopefully will be governed by the European Commission. So the R2O enhancement will be at the focus area for us in the next period in the program. Also, we are looking for facilitating more industrialization of space weather in Europe, both for space weather observations, but also we're looking at companies who are interested in developing space weather service capabilities. This is another part of the program, space weather activities. So what I presented before is the area which is particularly focusing on the space weather service network and its enhancement. Then we have also an area which we call space weather core, which is more focusing on technology improvements and also developments of new technologies. And there are basically 4 areas that we are working on there. One is the Virtual Space Weather Modeling Center. So our aim is to establish an end-to-end space weather modeling and simulation capability, also with the capability to process data in near real time in the same end-to-end system. We want to validate and verify this end-to-end system. And we want to develop capability to run observation system simulation experiments and observation system experiments with this system for the planning of the future space weather observation capabilities in Europe. So we want to be able to simulate and identify the impacts of the new missions, but also potentially for new ground-based observation capabilities. And we're also looking at how to make this overall end-to-end simulation system more user-friendly. So at the moment, the system is there already in a certain version, but it needs a lot of expertise to do that. And there are probably methods of using, for example, artificial intelligence to simplify the interfacing with the users. And we're also looking at data visualization techniques, including, for example, virtual reality. Enhancement of space weather models. This is a fundamental part of the development activities, looking at all possible methods of modeling space weather. And particularly, I think at the moment, the interest is very much on combining physics-based and deep learning based models, for example. We want to build the capability to utilize the data from the future ESA and European space weather missions, particularly, of course, VIGIL, but also all the other new missions that we're implementing. We want to make the models ready to utilize and ingest the data from those missions. We're looking at technologies for onboard processing and actually many other technologies where we are open for proposals from the community. There are software developments, maybe not so relevant for this meeting, but we have the ESA Space Weather Payload Data Center, where we do all the level 1 processing of all ESA space weather missions, and also some of the collaborating missions with our partners. And we want to develop this into really a one-stop shop, so that not all data has to be in ESA. That's not the intention, but that there would be a user interface that allows accessing at least all European space weather data through a single interface. And then we are planning to do instrument and mission studies. So there are new technologies that allow us to make the instrument smaller and use smaller missions without compromising the performance. we want to execute those system simulation and observation system experiments that I mentioned before to test what the benefits from the new missions would be. And then subject to the mandate and the support of our member states, we also want to start addressing the operationalization of the ground-based observation systems. So this is my final slide, just to mention that we are not just training the space weather end users using space weather data. We are also training the students who will be the next generation of space weather experts in Europe. And for those of you who have students, the application time is now open for the next space weather training course that will be held at the end of March next year. This is organized together by the ESA Academy and the Space Weather Office. And also some of you are teachers during this week. So I would like to thank everybody who is involved in organizing this opportunity for the students. For the first two training courses, all the feedback that we have received from the students has been excellent. I think that completes my presentation for today. So thank you very much.